Hello everybody and welcome. We are very happy to introduce you this open web meeting on DIH². As some of you know, we are now in the second stage of the open call, but before giving you more details on this part, what is DIH? DIH² is a pan-European network of robotics in agile production. This project, as you may know, gathers 26 European digital innovation hubs, and the objective is to grow the network to 170. So for the ones that are not familiar with the digital innovation hubs, the digital innovation hubs are organizations bringing technical solutions, but also business development and more service to support any European SME. DIH² is the network of these organizations working all together across Europe, and the purpose of the network is really to establish a sustainable network of robotics DIH, endowed with tools and procedures of the commercialization and solutions of agile production by manufacturing SMEs. Welcome, my name is Ermira Vodo. I'm an Open Innovation Project Manager of BLUMORPHO. Today, together with my colleague, Johan.
Yes, hello everybody.
We have today the pleasure to be with two of our partners of DIH², Belen, Program Manager of Funding Box. She will introduce us with the application to the second stage of the open call, and with Francisco, technical expert from FIWARE Foundation, and he will introduce us with the technical part of the project. To what will be covered today. As you can see here, we will cover the benefits of the DIH² project, so the open call program and how you can apply to the second stage. After that, FIWARE introduction, applications and implementation, and a very short overview on the sponsoring program. I would like to remind you that at the end of this open web meeting, there will be a Q&A session. So please feel free to ask your questions in the question box. Belen, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mira, for the introduction. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this webinar. As Mira said before, I will be explaining which are the open call requirements, which are the benefits, what we offer to our applicants, to the beneficiaries of our program, and how to apply to this open call. I hope I will clarify all of your doubts. If you have any questions after my presentation, you will have also my contact details and the opportunity to post it through the chat. So just to give a quick, let's say, I will add something to what Mira already said about the goal and objective of our project, of the DIH² initiative. We believe in the power of robotics to transform the agility of SMEs, and with that drive the economic growth in Europe. So we want to strengthen the European positioning in robotics. How we will do that, how we will enable the manufacturing of SMEs, we will grant financial support to up to 248K for application experiments. This is for consortia formed for at least 2 or 3 entities that will be part of our 10-month program support. And we will select up to 26 beneficiaries in the 2 calls. This is 13 per call. For this open call, we will select 13. Regarding the value proposition, so what do we offer to the applicants and to the beneficiaries that we will be finally selected to participate in our program? We will grant them with equity-free European funding, so each application experiment will be receiving up to 248K. They will have access to the DIH² digital platform. Francisco, our colleague of FIWARE, will speak more in detail about it. Beneficiaries will receive support in mentoring and training in different kinds of aspects, from technical to funding, how to get funding, business part, standardization, mentoring. We will support them in particular issues regarding the ethical, data privacy, and cybersecurity issues that it will be done by European experts. They will have the opportunity to be published in our RAM marketplace, that is our one-stop shop with access to premier class tech and non-tech services. And also we will be supporting them in getting fundraising services. So further public will be available through the regional smart specialization strategy. So we will work with regional entities to support experiments on that. And also we will be helping them in achieving also private funding through our program. The first stage for this open call is already closed. It was intended to be to let individual companies to apply, whether there were manufacturing SMEs or slightly bigger companies. So, and system integrators of course. So we had two types of companies that could apply separately as individuals. So after the call for this stage was closed, the companies were invited to different local brokerage events, and our local DIH partners helped them into finding the right partner to form the consortia to apply to second stage. So we have done some matchmaking based on the needs from the manufacturing SMEs. And these companies, the eligible companies that apply to this stage, are able to receive the support from our partners in writing the proposal for second stage. Now second stage is open. Even if your company did not apply to second stage, you can still apply. But this stage is intended for consortia. There are not individual companies anymore applying. There are consortia formed by the aforementioned entities, so the two types of entities I told you, so at least a minimum of 2 companies, a maximum of 3. The participation of at least 1 manufacturing SME and 1 system integrator or technology provider is compulsory, so you need to have at least these two types of companies. And in the next slide, I can show you which is our process of the open call. So you will see here, this is intended for the 2 batches, so the 2 open calls that our project is intended to have. This is the first one. As you may see, we are now in the second stage. So after the first stage was closed, we helped them companies to form the consortia. So we provided them with brokerage services, and now second stage will be open until the end of February. Once we will be closing the call, we will have the evaluation, and that it's formed by eligibility check to see if the companies are, let's say, complying with all the eligibility requirements, and an external evaluation phase. Out of these, you can see here the numbers are intended for the 2 batches. So we have 52 for the that will go to the jury day. In total for the 2 calls. So 26 will be selected to go to the jury day for this call, and 13 will be finalists to start our tech transfer program. The program will last 10 months. We will have, as you may see here in the screen, different types of support, mentoring, and also funding. This slide is regarding more to give you a more clear picture of actual dates of our selection process. So as I said before, by the end of February 27th, to be precise, the call will be closed. The external evaluation and consensus meeting that are part of how the evaluation and the final selection of the beneficiaries will take place will be done during March. At the beginning of April, we will be able to communicate the initial beneficiaries to be invited to the jury day. The jury day is intended to be at the end of April in Barcelona. It will be held by Eurecat, one of our DIH Notes partners. And the negotiation phase, once the jury day takes place and the final beneficiaries are selected, the negotiation phase and the signature of the agreements will take place during May and June. At the end of June, the program will start with the 13 selected beneficiaries. Well, how can you apply to the second stage? So I told you before that even if your company did not apply to the first phase, it is still possible to apply to the second stage. You need to apply through the Funding Box website. Here you will find the link. It's an online form where you can upload your proposal. In this website as well, but you can find also the link here. You will find all the access to all the documents that are needed that we encourage you to read before applying. Of course, it's the guide for applicants with the process well explained, an introduction to the DIH² digital platform, which is the proposal, the frequently asked questions section. If you have any type of questions and you cannot find the answer in the frequently asked questions section, you can submit your question through our online community. So we have a Q&A space and a help desk to help you if you have any doubts, and you can see there the link, or if not, you can send us an email and we will be happy to help you. Okay, so that is all on my side for my presentation. I hope it has been helpful for you, and if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them at the end of the session.
Thank you very much, Belen. I would like to remind to the audience that you can ask your questions. We have a Q&A session at the end, and I see different of you have already asked them, so continue to do so. So I would like to leave the floor now to Francisco, that will introduce us to FIWARE.
Okay, thank you, Mira. Thank you, everyone. Let's start with a more technical presentation regarding the DIH². Okay. This first slide is just to put us some context regarding our vision of the digital factory. We have a factory in which multiple locations, multiple devices are all of them connected between them. They can share data, and what we really want to do is to share valuable information and to make all of them interoperable, not only in the execution, in the places where the production is executed, but also where it is managed inside the organization and across the whole supply chain. DIH² is about this transition to Industry 4.0. And in order to manage with all of this interoperability and all the advantages that one can have from an appropriate data management, we have identified or highlighted these 4 key scenarios in which one can develop advanced interfaces for the execution of the production, system to implement the horizontal integration within this location, and also advanced services to support the interaction between verticals in the organization or across different organizations at the enterprise level. But what is the digital platform of DIH² about? If you check at the bottom and on the right of the figure, you can follow a figurative sequence of processes where some dashed boxes highlight these scenarios. For instance, the first one is an horizontal integration between an autonomous mobile robot and one automatic feeder for an assembly line. Then we have another station where multiple devices must be integrated in order to work as a joint workstation. And then on the right, we have verticals that connect the shipment with some part of the logistics in the factory and some suppliers in the outside connected world. What DIH² aims at bringing to you is a digital platform that covers everything that is needed to implement this hyper-connected, fully interoperable factory. And we will operate at 3 levels: at the device level or workstation level, at the server level, with one broker that is able to manage and share the information with every endpoint, and at the service level, where we can deliver some advanced services based on processing and management of the data that is flowing between endpoints. FIWARE is the underlying technology that supports the DIH² digital platform, but let's see more about what is it and how does it work, just to have clearer in our minds what is the contribution of FIWARE. Okay, FIWARE is not just about this technology, but about a whole ecosystem that works to produce interoperable and affordable technology to ease and accelerate and lower the cost of a smart solution. It is not only focused on the industry, it is also covering other verticals like smart energy, smart agriculture, or smart cities. But in the end, the vision is the same. We want to make open source technology accessible. We want to work on collaborative-based data models that can then be used by others to collaborate or to develop business upon them. But focusing on the industrial sector, which challenges are we facing, and in particular within DIH²? In this hyper-connected, fully interoperable environment, the first challenge which we face is how we can implement or achieve the desired enablers to perform data exchange. This is very challenging in industrial shop floors because very smart or very innovative systems coexist with legacy systems and even with non-digital assets. Typically or traditionally, these structures were very rigid. The information flows across a very rigid structure of IT systems. And in these hyper-connected environments with every sensor and single device trying to share information with the rest, this approach is starting to become no longer valid. So we need to think about additional ICT infrastructures and data exchange enablers to implement this connectivity. The second challenge is about interoperability. Being able to exchange data is not enough to be fully interoperable. So this lack of existing standard data models and the existing integrations that more of them are ad hoc and totally focused on solving a very specific problem become a redundant problem that is very high in costs, and the resulting solutions are very difficult to reuse or extend when you need to enhance your environment. So these base data models that allow system integrators to implement reusable solutions and to enhance them when they face a new setting or a new context are key. The other point regarding interoperability is that if we are able to take this integration to the level of exploiting data semantics, then we have a common space where we can facilitate this integration between heterogeneous systems. And last but not least, we are facing the challenge of maintaining the performance of existing solutions. In the end, the benefits of the company depends of the performance of these communications. Traditionally, it was focused on having very efficient and robust communications, able to work with very, very low latency. So the increase in this interoperability and in this connectivity must not impact what it is done in critical databases. So we must enhance the communication without having impact on this part. Then, of course, as you increase the level of digitization and open different channels for communications, cybersecurity arises as a challenge, and this must be taken into account, and we do. So in this part, how does FIWARE contribute? The role of common open standards is key in order to evolve and to be competitive in this when we are facing these challenges. Okay, so FIWARE and his whole community work to identify and to develop the necessary technology and standards to make these solutions affordable. If we summarize the contributions of FIWARE for the DIH², from the technical side, we contribute this NGSI specification to harmonize data models and implement standardized APIs. We also contribute a full implementation of a server for the platforms that implements the whole NGSI specification. And since we need to connect heterogeneous machines, sensors, devices, and multiple assets in the shop floor, FIWARE also contributes ready-to-use agents to communicate digital devices with the server, and a core library to implement custom devices in the case that the specific device you are targeting lacks of. And now that we are using this vast amount of data, extracting benefits from this data requires a lot of processing, a lot of management of this data. And FIWARE also provides ready-to-use solutions to implement this data management. In short, focusing first on the Orion Context Broker, which is the server of the DIH² digital platform. It works with these NGSI models in a native way, and it allows you directly to interact with the information stored in the server by typical create, read, update, and delete operations, but also it provides support for structured attributes. You can perform batch operations, and you can filter the information by different properties in the data, which is very, very useful to implement ambitious and smart applications. This is one of the more technical slides that we will see, and it focuses on how difficult it is and how challenging it is to develop an integration component for such as heterogeneous devices, workstations, and networks. And just to have your technical team in line with what it is required in the application experiments, what it is really important for the DIH² platform is to have this in Industry 4.0 connectors, in which a technical integration, let's say an assembly line or a welding robotized cell or whatever environment you face, these devices already account for native APIs, or they are connected to a sort of real-time middleware or to a control device like a PLC, or they also export interfaces with industrial IoT middlewares. The point is to implement an agent that in some way, through one or more of these channels, interact with the physical device and contributes to the rest with some level of interoperability that in the end will materialize an agile production concept. The third part regarding the components that FIWARE already provides, you can find all of them in the FIWARE catalog. It is organized in 4 chapters. Some of them are focused on data management, allowing you to provide persistence and advanced processing on the data that is flowing through the server. Others are, as I told before, are focused on the implementation of integration agents. We have also components focused on the security and data sovereignty regarding the data management. And you can invite your technical team even to explore in more detail this catalog. In any case, in the next session of this series of webinars, we will elaborate more on the contributions of these components. Here, I provide you with some links to get familiar with what we do in FIWARE, with some tutorials to get started with the technology available, to explore the catalog, to get familiar and to explore the very, very specific details of the context broker and the whole description of the NGSI specification. Now, let's put everything together and let's focus on your objective for an application experiment. We have 3 key axes to evaluate or to explain the value of the experiments. On the one hand, we have the materialization of an agile production concept. On the other hand, since agile production cannot be understood without the use of robotics, we have some robotics challenges to face. And on the other one, we aim at producing open, standardized, and reusable solutions that can generate value, not only for us, but for others, to develop collaborations and new business models. So in this slide, in this first slide, is focused on the concept of agile production. It is extracted from the definition provided by the DIH² EU program, and it basically says that agile production is about robotics, that the adaptability of this robotics is key, and the flexibility of the automation provided by this robotics is key to be able to deal with multiple tasks, with variability in the products, with different schedules, and this agility, this flexibility must be fast in comparison with the time scale of the task that we are facing. Then we have that agility is not only about the speed and adaptation, it's also easing the execution of a task, but everything in balance. And the fourth point is the success of agile production. It is necessary to maintain the level of quality and performance already achieved, and at least improve one regarding the efficiency, the adaptability, the accuracy, or the level of automation that we have in a plant. Regarding the application fields that can be covered, it includes almost everything in the manufacturing sector. So for sure, your case can be oriented to this pyramid. Regarding the second one, the project has been working on the design of a list of topics, and your experiment maybe can be focused on only one or can identify one main challenge, but it can also be said that you are facing one as main challenge, but you have secondary challenge to face regarding the robotic platform that you are going to use. The third axis is about the challenges in the interoperability that you will face when you implement your solution. As you can see here, there is a vast amount of protocols and transport methods used in the industrial sector. What we are trying to do with NGSI is to offer a common middleware where all of these heterogeneous components can share data. And how can they share data and interoperate based on this data? The key vision is that we aim at exploiting the semantics of this data in the factory. And when I mean semantics, I refer to how can we model our resources like the raw materials, the pieces that we are using as elements, the workforce, the machines that we have, which are the output products, which are the metrics on the quality that we are going to apply, how we model our orders, etc. But I want to highlight this part with the automation skills. For this part, to integrate everything in our common middleware, we must understand automation as primitives that allow our workstation or our machine to implement a task and get it done. And our models will focus on aligning with these primitives, the parameters that we need, that are needed, the patterns that we want to identify, etc. Next session on February the 13th, we'll focus on the technical part. This is just an introductory slide of an illustrative use case. For instance, you maybe are facing an environment in which you have an assembly line. Your robotic platform is a cobot that will help a human in this assembly line, and you will focus on the development of an advanced interface for the worker in order to be able to produce variations of the elements or to produce different products, whatever is your case. You can say, for instance, that your focus will be this interface, and that you will also deal with the safety of the worker and with the complex event processing and pattern detection with all the data flows that you need to manage in this station to make it more agile. So in your proposal, what we expect to find is a description of which is your initial factory setup and which are the relevant models in your production environment that allows you to materialize your production. And then we want to identify a set of functional and quality requirements that you have identified that will allow you to become more agile regarding this production, and in alignment with the definition that we have given to you regarding the agile production. Then we expect to see which setup have you envisioned to implement this a solution for this requirement, a system integration and a software architecture that allows everything work. And the fifth and also key part is which kind of alignment do you think that you can reach with NGSI standard? Which contribution do you think that will you provide after the experiment as a specification, as a set of data models, as a software component that is a base component that can then be specified to solve multiple problems or to collaborate with others in order to improve the business around it. This is my last slide. As I said, in the next session, we will focus more on the technical aspects. And with this, I have concluded my presentation. Thank you, everyone. I will be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Francisco. And I would like to share with you very fast, for the ones that are not familiar, the sponsoring program, who and how to benefit from it. So maybe different ones from you are already familiar. I will not mention again what are the benefits of the DIH² because Belen went through it, and if you wish, you can have the presentation later. But I would just like to remind you that this is the DIH² is a project where players like tech providers, system integrators, and manufacturing SMEs can benefit through financial and technical support, access to potential customer, visibility, and the opportunity to market your offer, and at the same time to join a pan-European community to shape the European future of standardization in robotics. I would like to concentrate to focus more in the access to potential customers in offering your agile and robotic solutions. So this is basically offered by the sponsorship program, which is a program always in the frame of DIH². How can you market your offer? You can market your offer by having high visibility across Europe, always through this program. And you can reach more than 300,000 SMEs across 26 European countries, and you can showcase your products and services. And how can you do that? You can do that through the digital events, where each digital event has from 60 to 400 participants, through regional events, where each regional event has about 100 participants, and large conferences with more than 1,000. Maybe some of you have already participated in some of our digital events where we have given opportunity to different solution providers to showcase their solution, to introduce their products. We do not offer through this program only high visibility across Europe, but as well the opportunity to reach new customers. And how do we do that? You will receive access to potential customers that will receive financial support with up to 248,000 euro to trial and adapt your products and services. And you will receive as well insightful customer experience feedback to enhance your product or service offering, which is really a great opportunity. And what is the good news about that is that to benefit with the visibility and access to new customers, you can just express your interest. And there is a special offer right now because this program is under testing phase. So it's totally free and is fully tailored for you and adapted to your needs. Okay, so feel free to contact me later and to express your interest. I will contact you. I will explain you better. I will send you more material about it, and we will see how to adapt the offer for you. And Johan, the floor is yours to explain us, to share with us the questions. I think there should be different questions from the audience.
Yes. So, okay. So let's start this Q&A session. So I'm going to start with some question about the DIH² program and what kind of project could be elected to this program. So I have a first question is about is it possible to apply a project who is already applied for another European funding? So I think it's more for BLM. Could you answer this question?
Yes, of course. Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, you can apply even if you have received the European funding. What you need to check is in which initiative you have received the funding, because in DIH² we have a limit of 300K per company, but if it has applied to different to initiatives that are under the same let's say to projects under the same initiative at DIH², for instance, the RIMA project, the Trinity project, the HORSE project. So you need to check in which all the information is available also in the guide for applicants and in the frequently asked questions section, but you need to check in which project you have already received the funding. Okay, it's a matter of initiative, which initiative you applied before.
Okay, good. Thank you for your answer. So still to continue on this topic, around this topic, I have another question is about so we have to keep in mind that at the minimum in the consortium we need to have one manufacturing and one technology provider or integrator. But at the end, is it possible to propose a project who is mainly a demo solution, just a proof of concept, or we need to have a final project?
This is, maybe Francisco can reply more to this type of question. Maybe it's a more technical thing.
Yes, I think that and the point here is if your setup in the end has the potentiality to deliver, as I said in my presentation, a specification, a collection of data models, or a truly implemented software component that generates value for the manufacturing domain. If after the experiment, in the 2 months that we have to develop the open standard component, you are not going to deliver value, then I think that the envisioned experiment is below the expected level. Okay.
Okay. Still about the consortium organization. So some of the audience who are technology provider ask how they can reach industrial end user. So what is the way to get a contact interested by their technology? How they can reach them?
Well, they can reach us through the email of the help desk, and we will be happy to forward the email to the local DIH nodes to see if they have maybe in their country to start with, and if not in other countries to find a company that can be a perfect match for them to build a consortium. So okay, I would suggest to write us an email to the help desk email, and we will be putting them in touch with the DIH nodes.
Okay, so you are making the intermediate between them and the industry.
Exactly.
Okay. And
exactly. We will try to see if we can find a company for them.
Okay. And what kind of information they need to give you to help you in this mission?
No, basically what type of company they are looking for, and where are they from, and we will put them in touch with the local node, and if we cannot find a company there, then we will forward it to the other nodes to see if there is a company available.
Okay.
So they can put them in touch. Okay.
Okay, understood. Okay, so maybe a question more technical for you, Francisco. So can I install the digital platform in my factory? The idea behind is can we have our own server so to manage all the data internally?
Yes, I guess that you mean this instance of the context broker, if you can run it in your site, in your factory. For sure, the context broker is thought to be run internally in your factory without connection to the outside, but you have also the complementary alternatives. If your setup requires a server that runs in the cloud, or even if you think about more complex structure where two context brokers must be connected between them, the Orion context broker also provides you with the required features. But to answer your question, yes, you can have the whole implementation of the network structure in your site without having data outside your factory and outside your production floor.
Okay, okay. Another question. So during your explanation, you have been talking about developing open data model. Do you have some example on your side?
Yes, I presented one where multiple topics regarding what I was meaning with factory context data was. I talked about which devices do you have, which type of raw materials and elements or pieces you have to model during your value chain. Also how you model your orders, and I particularly highlighted automation skills and how for us is the semantic model for these automation skills with a primitive that can be called, some parameters for the method and some constants or metrics that you want to share using these primitives. So how an important data model is that abstract these features and allows one to specify on this core data model and lower the design cost and improves the shareability of the models based on these standards. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So just back to more administrative point. So I have a question that came back very often. So Bedam, is it possible to apply to the second stage if we haven't applied for the first stage?
Yes, the second stage is open to everybody. So let's say the scope is different. The first stage was intended for individual companies to apply. So we had an application form for manufacturing SMEs and an application form for tech providers and system integrators. The objective of that stage was to then have a pool of companies, do matchmaking services with them, so put them in touch, form the consortia, and provide support to those consortia in writing the proposal of second stage. But if you haven't applied to first phase, you can still do it to second stage, but you will need to apply as a consortia. So 2 companies at least, 1 manufacturing SMEs and 1 tech provider or system integrator. And yes, you can apply. You won't be receiving support in writing the proposal from the DIH notes, but you can of course do it, and you can still be selected to be part of the program.
Okay. So last question still for you. So once we have applied, what's happen after? How the application will be evaluated? So I can imagine behind this, what kind of criteria are you watching on this
Okay, now once once the application, let's say the call is closed, and we will run first an eligibility check to see if the consortia are respecting the eligibility criteria. So if they are from the European Union or associated member countries, if the proposal was submitted correctly in English, if all the fields were fulfilled. So this minimum criteria need to be, if we have, of course, 1 manufacturing SME and 1 tech provider or system integrator as part of the proposal as the minimum requirement, And then we will have the proposals, the eligible proposals, to be evaluated by 2 external experts in the fields of robotic and agile production. So we will be choosing external independent experts. Each proposal will be evaluated twice by these 2 experts with business and technical profiles. So, and the final list of proposals will be invited to the jury day. You can see all how the criteria is going to be scored. You will see that basically they will score each of the sections that you will be fulfilling in the application, and you will see how this criteria will be scored from 0 to 5. How is the threshold for each of the criteria, and all of this is better explained in the guide for applicants. With very detailed, honestly. But if you have any extra questions regarding this, you can still always contact me, and I will be happy to send you the information. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Maybe we have still time to make a last question, maybe more technical. So Francisco, so I have a question for you. How do you think is the best way to implement a link between the DIH² server and the one robotic system?
I had also shared with you a slide on this, but I will cover this topic in more detail during the next session, which will focus on the technical part. And I think that it is key to focus on this integration agent in order to analyze which are the native APIs that we have in our floor. It maybe is the native API that the device or the robotic system offers. Probably if you have, for instance, an ABB robot or a KUKA robot or an universal robot, it provides you with an already developed software application that exports an API. It is another possible endpoint. Or maybe you have your robot connected with an OPC-UA server and you have your model for interaction using this OPC-UA server. Or maybe you have a connector with an industrial IoT protocol, like for instance the DDS, which FIWARE also has a DDS component which is called fast RTPS. You have compatibility with this service, and you maybe are implementing an interface that runs with MQTT. So you must first identify which is the API that you are going to use in order to connect your system with the platform. And then you must implement the integration agent. For this integration agent, you already have in FIWARE these components ready to use and ready to deploy to implement the bridge between OPC-UA, between fast RTPS, MQTT, or even with your HTTP API in the working station with the broker. Then you only need to implement and focus on the logic to materialize the agile production concept. And here, from my experience in other conversation with with potential applicants, comes the doubt of, look, but if I implement this solution, there is part of this that I don't want to share with others because it is very specific for my shop floor, or because it has part of my intellectual property. Okay, in that diagram that we will visit in detail in next session, I make the difference between reusable and contributed components and your tailored or proprietary components that are not going to be reused. The point is to present a modular solution and to highlight where is your contribution to open data models and open standards. This is the point, but for sure next week I will go in deep with this type of problems.
Okay, great, perfect. Thank you for your answer. So that was our last question, and I think we can close now this session of Q&A. Mira?
Yes, thank you very much, Johan. I would like to remind to the audience that we have 2 more open web meetings that are the following of this one, and that are of course different, where Belen will go in more detail on how to apply any issues and so on, and Francisco will go more in depth in the FIWARE technology. So follow us and register to the open web meeting of February 13th and the one of the 20th. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day.